Welcome and thank you for joining. This is Mindful Mondays with Kemi, part of the Good Life program on healthy aging brought to you by UC Davis and the City of Oakland, bringing spiritual health classes directly to you all live. Before we get started, let's go over some helpful tips. You will see a small icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. You will see a sidebar on the right hand side when you click the icon. At the bottom of the sidebar, you can actually type in any comments or questions that you might have during the session. This Zoom class will be recorded and broadcasted on Facebook and YouTube. So please take this time to change your Zoom name if you wish to be identified differently. This is a friendly reminder that by remaining in the Zoom meeting, you consent to allowing your image and photo, video, or film to be used for any legitimate purposes by the organizers, producers, sponsors, and assignees. Lastly, let's remember that this is Zoom. It is not perfect. Your sound or internet might cut out, but remember we are still here and you can always access us on Facebook Live. So if you experience any technical issues accessing our class, please give us a call at 510-255-0232 or email us at info@thegoodlifepath.org. And if you enjoyed today's conversation and wish to be a part of our live session, please support us by clicking on the link posted in the chat to get your free Zoom invitation and reminder to our next session. Because Mindful Mondays is open to all interested in creating a safe space to promote personal growth and advocate for spiritual and mental health awareness. We are committed to building a space for you to come together with others who are open to expand their consciousness. We are not trained therapists and cannot provide you with expert advice about your specific legal work or family situations. However, we can provide you with thoughtful opinions based on our personal experiences. This space is sacred and we expect our conversations to remain private. We ask that you speak respectfully towards one another and not tell group stories outside of our sacred space. We are not doctors and this is not a formal mental health guidance, but this is Mindful Mondays with Kemi, brought to
Greetings and happy Monday, all. Welcome to the Good Life with Mindful Mondays and Kimmy, brought to you by UC Davis and the City of Oakland. We welcome you to today's topic, being Animal Speaks. For those that have been rocking with me since 2022, April 2022 is when we began this journey of Mindful Mondays. And today's topic, again, is going to be something I want to be playful with. So it will require your participation if you want to put it in the chat group. But I'm going to always, as always, set an intention and start the day and the week off with a mindfulness meditation. Today's meditation will be focusing on animals because of today's topic. So if you can take a moment to set yourself, if you're driving, hopefully you're not, but if you are, just be still and pay attention to your surroundings, because I know you're unable to look at the screen, especially those in California with the new law of no touch. In this moment, if you don't want to look at the screen and you just want to think of the different animals that have come across your life since childhood, we can discuss those things. As always, I stop my video so that you can focus on what you are looking at versus me, as I may be led to share some affirmations during this meditation. The Good Life and Mindful Mondays with Kimmy does not own this video or the sound to this content. So we are just sharing because we feel that it will be beneficial and in alignment with today's meditation. Now make sure that you are tapping into your breath at your pace. If you can go for 4 seconds or longer on your inhale and holding it for the same amount of time or longer and exhaling through your mouth with the same amount of time. And you will repeat this cycle. As you look at the screen, you can see what animal may stand out to you unless you have one that is already your friend. Take the time to set your intention for the remainder of 2025. What elephant is in the room that needs addressed. For you to move forward. Spread your wings and be present in the now. What's in the depths of your subconscious that needs to come to the top in order for you to flow in that depthness and all that you are? For that depthness is what has alchemized you to leap forward in this moment. What layers need to be shed? What are the roots of your tree life? How thick has your skin become because of those experiences? What does your community look like? As the sun has risen on a new day, how do you move forward? How do you see the abundance that is all around you? How does nature speak to you? Through the animals, through the insects, through the divine forces of nature, whether it is the wind, the forest, the ocean, the river, a lake, a creek, a hill. What is it that you see when you go out in your day to day? Now, if a particular animal stood out to you during your meditation or always stands out to you, please put it in the chat room, or if you want to unmute to share what you just saw on the screen and how you felt. Was it a particular animal? Was it a particular thing that stood out? Miss Benton.
That's what I was thinking. And then the animal that, the one that was like alone, making sure that, he's not attacked. You almost feel like that sometimes when you leave your home now. All my daughters say, check your surroundings, and you have to. We're just in that space right now.
Yeah. I love that you notice how the animals are together. That is the time that we're in to be in community. Although we're individuals, community is really something that is needed in this moment. I would love if anyone could put in the chat if you are scared of a particular insect, if an insect stands out, because When you turn the spider to the side or look at it from the side, it looks like an 8 or an infinity. The spider itself is one that weaves a web and creates. So, in what ways do you create? There's a couple of books that I am going to recommend. One is called The Pocket Spirit Animals. So it goes into the animals, and I will read and share with you what the Black Widow, because I personally had an experience with a Black Widow, building a web by my back door. And this is the messages. The message is that it is time for a fresh perspective on what you are doing, perhaps even a perspective that is contrary to your usual way of thinking and seeing things. Your intuitive powers are very strong now, so pay closer attention to subtle sensations in your body rather than relying solely on what meets the eye. Now, when I read that, most people see spider and they're scared of a Black Widow. I was like, oh no, a Black Widow. Oh my God, I can't kill it though. Well, it was by my door, and I just wanted to know what the message was. And so it said that I have done the hard work and now to be patient and wait. So it said that I have done the hard work and now to be patient and wait expectantly for the rewards that will come. And that it will be a shift. Now, what's interesting is that it said it's a good time to detox and cleanse. And that's what I've been on. I've been thinking about cleansing and detox, creating right now. I am creating now. I am creating a lot of things right now. I am in the midst of creating a lot of things. I've been doing a lot of things. It's coming up on 3 years completion with The Good Life. And I'm being asked to go to a lot of different retreats. I've done the work. And to see that spider, to know that I'm still weaving, I'm still creating. Black spiders are also, especially a Black widow, they're rare. You don't see them often. So that let me also know that the rarity of what I am creating is something that is going to assist and help a lot of people. And some people might be scared of what I'm creating because they don't really want to go in. I call myself the alchemy doula, which means that I am here to help you alchemize your past, present, and future to see how undeniable you are. But most people fear that, and they're okay with where they are, which is fine. I'm not here to judge. However, that's how nature spoke to me. And so the other book, it talks about creativity and weaving the faith. This book is called Animal Speaks. I will pull it up. It is by Ted Andrews. Animal Speaks, and it has a workbook that comes with it. But it talks about how the spider is a master weaver, and to Native Americans, it is the grandmother spider that kept and taught the mysteries of the past and how they were affecting the future. The spider reminds us to awaken to our own sensibilities to be more creative in life. Now, there's also a thing about the balance. Elephants in themselves. Elephants are big. The statement, what is an elephant in the room? The elephant being so big, but yet scared of a mouse or a mice. You put a mice in there and they say that elephants are scared, but elephants are considered to be wise. The elephant in the room, and I knew somebody was gonna talk about butterflies and a dog. I'm gonna address the dog because the dog is in the room too. Miss Benton, I see that you raised your hand.
Just one quick question on that Black Widow. I was always told if they bite you, you'll die. Is that true?
Well, I don't know. I didn't even wait to try to figure it out. I went on about my business, but I've heard that the bite is not a good thing that you would want to allow to happen to you. So I didn't, like I said, I shoot it. I kind of shoot it away. Miss Ishii.
I kill them. See, that's why when I see a Black Widow, I kill it. When I see a bee, I kill it.
We're gonna go over a bee too. Okay. Yeah, I don't kill bees because bees are essential to life. We need bees in this life, and they are doing things to harm bees. So I will go into a bee, I will go into the dog and butterflies. Miss Ishii.
Yes, may I see the book again? I missed it.
I'm gonna bring it up, but the name of it is Animal Speaks. The culture of, or in Ifa, there is a prayer that we talk about. The elephant did not make the sacrifice, but human beings did. And the elephant was not supposed to be caught if the elephant would have made the sacrifice, but again, it did not. And so when I look in the Animal Speaks book, the elephant is one that is an ancient power, strength, and royalty. Its cycle of power is year round. With the animal in native tradition, it is also sacred, just like the white buffalo. It is said that they are great teachers and masters when you dream of or see an elephant. Elephants in Asia are also venerated as well. They are a symbol of royalty and fertility, wisdom and success. And so when we think of the elephant, in what ways, again, when we think of that statement, what is the elephant in the room? What is the elephant in the room? What is the thing that you need to address? Because it's big, but yet no one wants to address it. So what ways can you be wise? A couple of people don't like insects. We're gonna get on the insects as well. Let's talk about this bee real quick, and then I'm gonna get to you, Brianna, about the butterflies and this dog. Bees are essential to life. Without the bees, we wouldn't. I will look up the spiritual meaning behind that said thing that I am looking at, because everything that I might say right now may not resonate, but I am not going through the entire book that I am recommending if you want to have more connection with nature to see why nature is showing up that way. Nature really is communicating with us when it comes in our path, but we do not feel comfortable with it because we are separate from nature. Nature, again, with bees, is the fertility when we think of bees. In Hinduism or in Egypt, it's royalty. It's talk about love. It is associated with hidden wisdom as well. It also talks about, again, the pollination. How do they pollinate? How do they gather? In what ways do you gather in your community and come together with your community? In what ways can you bring sweetness to your community? Tamiko said something about butterflies, roaches, and water bugs. Interesting. We'll talk about those as well. So I want to talk about the dog. In Ifa, the dog is connected to the spirit of the heart. If you think about a dog's best friend, something of that nature. So the dogs are definitely protectors, foundation, things of that nature. Butterflies cultures, not religion. Okay. Brianna, you have your hand raised?
I just love this. This is amazing. I just got this dog. His name is Juice. And it really has just been a heart opening, for sure. Just lots of love. And um, also the butterfly, like he attracts the butterfly and it just feels like it's just blossoming out of my life. And so I really appreciate this. And yeah, I think in nature, like when I'm going on a hike, and so I really appreciate this. And yeah, I think in nature, like when I'm going on a hike and I see certain birds, like the hummingbird for me is a really like, oh, okay, spirit is with me. It's a nature, like when I'm going on a hike and I see certain birds, like the hummingbird for me is a really like, oh, okay, spirit is with me. It's a real like a significant moment whenever I see a hummingbird. And especially if I see hummingbird when I'm in community, I'm like, okay, this person means something to me. Like I try to pay attention to when it emerges when I'm with other people, because to me that's significant.
I appreciate you sharing that. The butterflies and hummingbirds are both symbolic of joy. Hummingbirds is definitely one of my totems. My dad returned as a hummingbird. So anytime I'm going through something, I don't even see it anymore. I just hear the sound of the hummingbird. It reminds me in a moment where I might be frustrated to be lighthearted, and not to maybe even move fast. Because if you think of a hummingbird, they move fast, they fly fast, they can fly across the country, the fastest bird. And so sometimes it's trying to get you to slow down if you are even aware of the hummingbird. And so I love hummingbirds. I love butterflies. I just love nature. I don't, like I said, I, even to this point, I direct flies out of my house before killing them. I don't kill a fly. I tell them I give more light so that they can see the light. And I actually speak to nature, and people watch and they may laugh at me, which I really don't care. because it's the way that I communicate with nature, because I don't actually have to kill anything that's not bothering me. If it's not bothering me, why am I killing it? The Black Widow is probably the most recent thing that I did kind of do that with, because again, it was right by my back door, which my back door has an opening, and I did not want it to crawl into my house. So that was more of my thing. For those that are with insects or water bugs that creep you out, one thing that I would say about the water bug is symbolic of Enifa of Yemoja. So in what ways are you nurturing yourself, or what ways when you see those things, because roaches and water bugs only come out at night, they don't come out in broad daylight. So if you're seeing them, what is hidden in the subconscious that needs to come up and be nurtured? What beetles are transformation. So when you think of a beetle, what needs to transform? If you think of the scarab in ancient Egypt, they talked about the scarab, which was a beetle. So you can look at what those things are as to why you may have the opportunity to see again how spirit is speaking. You know, ants, for example. Ants, if ants are showing up, yes, it may be summertime, but for me, for example, I've been in the home that I'm in after it's been remodeled for 2 years now. And I just started seeing ants recently in the kitchen, but for me, I knew what that meant. Ants also symbolize working. If you think of ants, you have one ant that'll go out, that'll go hunting to see where everything is to bring the community back. And so in what ways do I need to do the work? Because I've already gone out to get certain information, and now it's time for me to do the work in sharing that information, because the kitchen is a place filled with love, a place where you nurture everyone else. You cook for the family, you do all of these things in the kitchen. So for me, symbolically, to see those ants, it wasn't because I had anything laying around, it was looking for something. And so again, what is it that I need to let go of in order to move forward? So I'm able to look at ants in that expression. And so, yes, thank you, Miss Phyllis, believing that everything in nature deserves life. You allow them the opportunity to get away, and if they don't, then you will kill it reluctantly. Yes, it is a reluctant expression of protection, and that does happen. Linda, the animals moving together reminded me of the Lion King, the nature and the beauty of family all together. Yes, that is the beauty that nature teaches us, but if we're fearful of it and we see ourselves separate from it, we have to understand that the human beings, we have the mind and we have dominion over, because of our mind, the intellect that we have, the intelligence that we have. However, because it has been how can I put it? Because of the school system and the things that we have had over the years, we tend to forget the little things. When we were children, we saw the little boys picking up bugs and insects and running and chasing, which could have then created some type of trauma for or a woman or someone that may not like insects, because that's something that their brother or somebody in the neighborhood may have done. And so how can we see this beauty of this ecosystem? Because again, we're not separate from animals. We're not separate from the trees. We're not separate from the ocean. We're not separate from this. We're all together. And so I love that Ms. Linda J pointed out the family all together. The beetle. Okay, so beetles have to deal with change and transformation. Beetles are a sign of, because a beetle walked with me during my year of change and transformation. And so beetles are blind, and most people do not know that beetles are blind. A beetle themselves will actually follow the vibration of a said thing. And so I want to bring it up because a beetle is not in this book, but I do want to show you guys how I look at how nature speaks to me, because people say don't read, and I've been told I read too much, but every time I read different books or different things, they all correlate. There is no separation. I take the meat and I throw away the bones, but I look at different resources to confirm what it is that I feel. So beetles in the spiritual context, they symbolize transformation, resilience, and new beginnings. The fact that it may have been found in the bathroom is a place of cleansing and letting go. So the beetle might have been telling you or showing you this transformation, this resilience, this persistence, again, protection. It's all of these things. And then it even goes into cultural beliefs because, again, I study culture. I think culture is beautiful. Other cultures are absolutely beautiful. So I do look at other cultures, not from a religious perspective. Okay. Miss Cornelius.
Yes, good morning. Some years ago, a bald eagle landed in my backyard,
Wow.
and he kind of folded, the wings under, and it wasn't sprawled out or anything like that. It looked very comfortable. And so when my husband saw he took a broomstick and kind of poked it to see if it was asleep or, dead. And it turned out it was dead. And so I called the county, whatever department, and they were very excited and curious about it. And they sent out a man who was like some kind of environmentalist or whatever. And his son came out with him. They were actually on their way to the movies one evening, and they dispatched him to come out. And he picked him up, put him in a plastic bag. And so he took him back to their labs, their office, and they were going to do a biopsy to see what happened. Because first of all, it's a very rare bird, and that he landed like that and all those other pieces. And so I think I remember him saying that there was something in your space that made it feel very comfortable, and it landed peacefully and transitioned. So,
That's a beautiful share. That's a rarity to see an eagle, and for it to take place in your backyard. There was recently a baseball game where an eagle landed on a Native American's arm, and they thought that it was his eagle, and it was not. He said that he just was paying attention to how the eagle was flying, and he put his arm out, and the eagle landed on his arm. And so this is, again, if your space, your home, your backyard, your place has Zen, nature will be drawn to it, and it's speaking to the fullness and the vastness that your backyard or your home may have. And so it's beautiful to pay attention to those things. And thank you for sharing that experience, Miss Carolyn, because the eagle, that's a rarity. And when I think of the eagle, it is something that is of a higher point of view. And how can one raise up to that consciousness? So thank you so much for bringing the eagle energy in today's conversation. Miss Dolores.
Well, I just want to say thank you for bringing up the beetle because I'd never seen one. And actually, I am scared of insects. So when I saw that beetle, I was freaking out like, where the heck did you come from? You have to get out of my house. And I couldn't kill it. Like, it kept hiding places. And I even tried to spraying it with something. And finally, my kittens, they were no good. But my older cat found it. And then I flushed it down the toilet. And then afterwards, I was writing in my journal and I thought, what was that beetle about? Like, I've never seen it. Why did it show up? And then things that you were saying really acknowledge where I am right now in my phase of life. And I thought, okay, there was a message there and I missed it out of fear.
And it's okay.
So,
But you still got it. And the beautiful thing is you brought the cat energy into the space as well, bringing up the cat. It is associated with curiosity, transformation, protection, and independence. And so, again, the intuition and self-reliance, and your cat protected you. And then it also shows balance and duality. So I definitely wanted to share how that also may be a part of completing when you go back to your journal and see how that all connects with the cat and the beetle.
well, thank you.
You are so welcome. Someone brought up the cricket. So let's look at what the cricket signifies. We have the cat and then we have the cricket. And so the cricket is a symbol of prosperity and intuition. It especially indoor, it's a good omen. So to kill it indoors, what I do is I might take a mason jar and place it over the cricket and slide a piece of paper underneath it and then release it out the front door. Because again, they're not harming me. It just might make a little chirp chirp to put me to sleep, or it may not put me to sleep depending on where I am. But it is about communication and self-expression. When you think about the cricket chirping, how are you expressing yourself or even listening to others? Are you talking too much versus needing to listen to those that are talking to you? It is something that also talks about patience, because crickets survive and adapt to anything, inner strength and the importance of perseverance. Crickets also talk about forward motion because they jump forward. They do not jump backwards. They only go forward. Okay. Slugs, somebody put slugs. Now, slugs are actually snails, but not in their home, right? So when you think of a slug not being in their home, or what does that look like? A snail is slow. So do you need to slow down in your life? Do you need to be steady with the progress that you are working on? Are you being adaptable? Do you see your resilience? Are you letting go of something? Because again, the slimy trail that's left behind by the slug, are you letting go of your past hurts, limiting beliefs, and negative emotions? Despite their slow pace, they also are determined because they are focused on getting to wherever their destination is. But you have to also think of the strength and the vulnerability that a slug has, because it doesn't have a shell. So in what ways are you still strong, even if you don't feel like you have your shell on or protected or things of that nature? So you have to look at the duality and the strength that's found in vulnerability, as well as navigating through life's challenges with grace and determination. Okay, thank you for putting that in the chat. Snails are also connected to the energy of Obatala. When we come to the Western tradition of the West African tradition of Ifa, because there is a spiral on the shell of the snail. Now, flies. Most people don't like flies. Flies and the SHIT word, most people don't like that, but flies actually clean things. Most people don't realize that. And so in a spiritual context, I will share the screen, because I know most people be like, but flies, I don't like them. Flies have a lot of different meanings. So they deal with foresight, adaptability, transformation, but also uncleanliness, temptation. It also talks about how do you adapt to these environments? In what ways can you be flexible? Flies also deal with transformation. If you think of the larva and how it grows, personal growth, change, and how can you shed old ways? Makes me think of the movie The Fly that came out in the 80s. I don't know how many people saw that movie, but it was a human man that injected some fly venom or something in his body, and he became a fly. But to see that, he went through a lot of changes and transformation. And so what negative influences, decay, what needs to be let go of? If there's a whole bunch of them, it may be time to cleanse your home if you are attracting a lot of flies in your home. Okay. Mosquitoes, of course, mosquitoes, all animals, all things in nature have some type of message that is sharing. Let me put mosquitoes on because it is mosquito season and they love type O. They love type O blood. So mosquitoes, when you think of mosquitoes, they are delicate. They deal with, and let me share this screen, persistence, resilience, adaptability. the delicate balance in life. They also represent irritations, distractions, or even hidden anxieties that require your attention. They are messengers of change. How do you embrace transformation and growth? Now, me with the mosquito, I've luckily figured out the way to get rid of the itch. You put an X with your nail in the middle of the mosquito bite and it will take out the sting. But I do notice when I do get bit, my conversation with myself is something along the lines of being adaptable and needing to transform. So I haven't had as many mosquito bites yet, fingers crossed this summer, but it's also, I am making the necessary changes in my life. In ancient mythologies, it talks about pestilence, but again, we're going into religion, which I more focus on spirit, which there's a difference. She said, that's why they love to bite me. So I just implore you as you go along your day, think of the correlation of your thoughts when you are out. How does your thoughts and this correlation to the insect or said things that you are coming in contact with? Insects themselves, again, overall, have a purpose in life, but most people do not like them. And again, insects in themselves can range from different things. And overall, I do want to share what they mean because they are a messenger, depending on what type of insect, because there's so many different types of insects. Thank you, Ms. Benton, for snakes, because I wanted to bring up the snake, but because the Bible in itself has put a negative connotation and most people don't understand what snakes, and then I'll go back to the aspect of insects. So snakes deal with transformation, healing, and rebirth. It is the ability to shed the skin, which is renewal and personal growth. It is also associated with wisdom, life force, and even spiritual awakening. In my practice and from the elders that have taught me is that it can also represent the kundalini, which is the breath that is going up from your spine, because the way that the breath goes up your spine is like that of a coil to reach your brain. So if your spine is like that of a trunk of a tree that is rooted and we don't see the roots, how does that root of your breath go from your lower back, your lower spine, or how can you pull that energy up from the ground if you're standing to understand how the earth ground, the grass or the dirt or the natural material actually charges your body, because again, we're electromagnetic beings. So if we understand the science of our body, then we know that there is no disconnect. So as we breathe in, we're breathing in and that energy is going up our spine, sort of like a coil. And so depending on the cultural representations, it could be protection, transformation, and divine. It could be also in danger, both danger and protection. Again, enlightenment. Again, this is positive things, the way you look at a snake again. In what ways can you see how change and transformation happens again, because a snake does shed its skin. A snake does bring a different shedding old habits. How can you embrace new versions of yourself? How can you revive yourself, rejuvenate yourself? Okay. And hopefully that answers or brings just a different perspective. I like to, again, share different perspectives. This does not mean that has to be your way to do and look at life and be mindful. However, nature does speak to us in various different ways. But if we are running away versus being still or moving slow or being patient or allowing the change and transformation to happen, sometimes we miss the mark, or we miss a message, or we miss an opportunity that spirit is guiding us to. Oftentimes during this season, I may even see dragonflies. Thank you, Miss Phyllis, for bringing the dragonfly in, because the dragonfly is a symbol of light. And so when you see that, what is in being enlightened in your life in that moment? Again, your conversations. Yesterday, I was out and even a tree It was a bush that had flowers on it, but the tree itself, when my friend and I started talking to it and thanking it, and saying thank you for providing the green and the fresh aroma of the flowers, and even saying touch my face, you will see how the leaf, and there's videos of this on TikTok and IG, of the tree or the branch or whatever that said energy is talking to, it actually reaches out and will touch the nose or touch wherever you direct it, because you're having a conversation with nature. And so I've seen that happen many a times before, even in talking to flies, like I've mentioned, thanking the bees, because again, bees are essential to this ecosystem. As bees are constantly dying, you have new people that are beekeepers to keep this world pollinated and the life circle of life going. And so I just implore you, those that may be scared of insects and not like insects, if they are not bothering you, allow them to live their life. In my experience in the retreat that I went to, Big Bear, last year, that was one of the agreements that were made, with that we would respect nature. We would respect life. We would not harm life. And to be amongst 18 to 30-year-olds, and to be amongst people who are mindful in that manner, to watch them move pillows so that a spider would not be stepped on or killed, or to even just watch how many chipmunks showed up or how many rabbits showed up on the trail while we were in nature in areas that were unbothered. I really see how even squirrels look different. If you see squirrels often, squirrels represent playfulness. They also represent preparedness, and how do you prepare? But they also represent hoarding. So when you see squirrels, or if your squirrels are showing up, look at what ways that you may be needing to prepare yourself, or be more playful, or even, again, have the opportunity to, I don't want to say hoard, but prepare for the next season, because that's what they do. They prepare for each season. Miss Inez, I'm not too sure if you wanted to share or if you just were unmuting and muting, but I did want to acknowledge you if that was a share. The other thing that even may come up is when you're watching TV. For this past week, Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon has been showing up, but I had to be, even with myself, as I went out to the beach yesterday, another Sonic the Hedgehog showed up. So I know that hedgehog is something that I need to look up to see what is this hedgehog energy trying to show me. Am I about to have a surge of energy like the Sonic the Hedgehog, or am I to slow down? So I have the ability to see how nature speaks to me through these various ways. And so I did want to share insects overall, because I did mention that, because some people said they were scared of insects. But again, there's different forms of insects. There's the ants, the crickets, spiders, bees, ladybugs. Those are all considered to be insects. And let's share. And so when we think of just insects across cultures and spiritual traditions, they represent transformation, good luck, industry, and they even serve as messengers. They are interpreted as a reminder of interconnectedness. Interconnectedness. I'm very big on interconnectedness, because again, there is no separation. This interconnectedness is the importance of balance. It's also possibly a nudge to focus on the present moment. Because again, if an insect is popping up in a moment where you're maybe daydreaming or you're overthinking a sad thing, again, this insect may be showing up to give you a message to snap out of this daydream that you may be in. I want to share the book again. You can go to Thrift Books if you are boycotting Amazon. Some people are choosing not to do Amazon and Target. Again, I'm not an endorser of any of these websites. I do not have any affiliation with any of these shares that I am sharing. This is just my process of how I study or am a student of nature and mindfulness. So I tend to love to share what I know. and have studied and practically applied for myself before I share it. Okay. And so Animal Speaks, again, it does come with a workbook. I don't know if you can find the workbook, but I did find the workbook myself. It's called the Animal Speak Workbook, which is, again, it kind of gives you herbs and different things if you are into native shares. So again, my tradition, my family, Native Americans, so I am very in tune with nature for various reasons. I just invite you to do so throughout your week and see what keeps showing up for you. It's going to be very interesting to see if you are open to share how nature has spoken with you this week when we come together next week, because next week we do have a lovely guest that they call themselves the priest of play. And in what ways can you be playful when it comes to mindfulness? Some people find the journey of whether it's spiritual growth or mindfulness or awareness or allowing yourself to just be connected, not just through your day-to-day, this is what I got to do or this is what I've been told, but really connecting with your spirit, your heart, because to me, that's where spirit lies. It lies in the heart, and so which ways can we do that? Miss Inez.
No, Kimmy, it's my phone. The AI is tripping. I'm sorry.
It wants you to share something. You have something good to share.
I love butterflies.
You love butterflies?
I do.
This is your season then. This is your season. And so
Thank
let me
you.
show this workbook just so that you can see what it looks like. This is the workbook. Again, they have it only as used. This workbook, I think, is something, looks like Amazon does have it brand new if you want to buy it brand new. But I found mine by the whim. I don't know where I was, but I found it by the whim. And so they also have a pocket guide if you want something small. He also has a pocket guide. And this was recommended by my elder teachers. Two of my elder teachers, well, actually three, rest in peace, Mata G. But again, these are ways if you want to get connected with nature or study a little bit more to be more mindful of how nature is speaking to you through these insects and these animals. Again, this is another way that you can be mindful about your day to day and what ways can you be one with nature in this beautiful ecosystem that we have. There's so much going on in nature, with floods. Those that are in tune with nature are watching the trees during these floods, and we are aware that this is not natural. So I pray, I envision, I invite you to understand that your energy within this collective ecosystem, as you speak to yourself, you are speaking to nature. So in what ways can you no longer be controlled by things outside of you, but see how nature, again, that is not man-made. That is something that is natural in divine order. And so what ways can you trust the process of where you are right now? Whether it is a slug, whether it is a butterfly, whether it is a water bug, whether it is a black widow, whatever it may be that may be trying to get your attention to be in this present moment, to use your collective or your energy individually to contribute to the collective energy. Now is the time that we can definitely understand how undeniable we are and the alchemy that we have come into this life in this form, in this body, with this mind, to co-create and make a shift by changing our thoughts. I've seen some amazing things happen when I do gatherings in nature, where people have felt the temperature of the water change because we collectively focused on that, or the shift of the water collectively change, or even watch how a butterfly may land and be present in the circle that we're in. There's so many ways that I personally have experienced how nature speaks, even down to a hawk. If you see hawks often, know that it is trying to get you to have a hawk-eyes view, because hawks soar. They don't flap their wings when they're flying. And it's a slow soar when they are looking for their prey, their meal. And so normally when people see hawks, I tell them to pay attention to what your thoughts were at the moment of seeing that hawk, and pay attention to the next 3 days, because hawks and birds are messengers. And so definitely pay attention to when a mockingbird is singing, and if you're joyful or if you're not in a good mood, because if you're not in a good mood, that mockingbird may be singing a tune that is trying to get you to be joyful and know that you are present with breath in your life and the activities of limbs and organs that some people may not have woke up today or risen today with that opportunity. And so allow nature to speak to you this week, and just crack a smile on your face or say thank you when it appears. To be fearful of something that you're bigger than allows you to realize that you're giving your power away to something that has no dominion over you. So I implore you this week to be mindful and to allow the alchemy of nature to speak to you in a way that is healing, transformative. And we have another one that was put in the group, a rat. And I'm gonna, before we end, and I definitely, the energy of a rat is something that is sacred to Ifa, because rats are abundant. It is in the dark, we don't see it. They make sure that they get what they get, and care for themselves. Let's see what the rat is. So the rat talks about an investment, and let me pull it up on here instead of in the book so that you can see that. Good one, Miss Benton. But rats are one that are about survival too. If you think of a rat, they deal with survival, resourcefulness, adaptability, instincts, survival instincts. They symbolize intelligence, they're cunning, and even deal with prosperity. They are problem solving. If you think of rats, they use rats in the lab when they are testing out all of the vaccines and all the things and the foods, the natural flavors that are in your food. They are testing rats. They even have a test with rats, with the rat that did not have sugar and the rat that did have sugar in the body. So we have to think, why do they use rats for labs to figure out what they're going to do on humans? Interesting. Thank you for bringing the rat into this. That's going to add to something that I'm working on outside of this. So thank you. But rats also, in a negative aspect, can deal with loss, grief, repressed emotions, or feeling overwhelmed. Again, context is really key. So you want to look at, where did you see the rat? What were your feelings? And what is the personal connection? Is it a phobia, fascinating, or is it something that you need to go deeper down the rabbit hole? We are in the year of the snake. So the snake being brought up, it is called a wood snake year in the Chinese astrology. So in what ways are you shedding your skin but yet being grounded this year? Because we are talking about wood. What does wood do? Wood is a foundational aspect of nature. Snake, again, in what ways can you shed in this year 9 those things that no longer serve you? Again, I thank you all for joining Mindful Mondays with Ia Kimmy, The Good Life, in the city of Oakland. I look forward to seeing you all next week when we will discuss playfulness and the mind. Miss Benton.
One more thing. We can shed pounds, okay? Off our body.
Absolutely. Yes, skin and pounds. That is all transformation. Thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Benton. May you all continue to transform and transmute the energy that is going on in this world collectively. Do not lose sight of the light and divine purpose. You all have a wonderful week. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
Have a good one. See you soon.
Yes, thank you.